Hey guys, Brant back with Steven.
What's up?
And we're here to do another solo album review. We're on our third solo album review, Peter Criss. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to review Peter Criss' 1978 solo album.
Paul Stanley. Gene Simmons. Peter Criss. Ace Frehley. The Kiss albums, won by each of the four Kiss stars on Casablanca Records and Tapes.
Peter Criss' solo album was produced by Vinnie Poncia and Peter Criss, with some songs also being produced by Sean Delaney. It was recorded and engineered by Vinnie Poncia at Sunset Sound Hollywood and Electric Lady New York. It was recorded April through July of 1978. It was released on September 18, 1978, along with the other three band members' solo efforts. Much of the material on the album could be technically considered covers, since most of it was originally written in 1971 for Criss's pre-Kiss band Lips. These include the songs I'm Gonna Love You, Don't You Let Me Down, That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes, Hooked on Rock and Roll. The album also includes a cover of the song Tossin and Turnin by Bobby Lewis. Peter's is the only solo album to have two singles released, You Matter to Me and Don't You Let Me Down. Neither song charted. Peter's album was the only album to have an insert inside that detailed the songs and musicians. Peter sang all lead vocal, but only played drums or percussion on 7 of the 10 songs. He had recently been a passenger in a bad auto accident and had broken hands, broken ribs, and had to have plastic surgery. Peter has stated that he played on all the songs. Some say he didn't play on any at all. Peter used 22 musicians and singers on this album, second to Gene. Danny Faragher, Tommy Faragher, Jimmy Faragher, Davey Faragher, known as the Faragher brothers, Maxine Dixon, Maxine Willard, Julia Tillman, Vinnie Poncia, Annie Sutton, and Gordon Brady all sang background vocals on the songs. Peter had a hard time finding a producer. He was first rejected by Tom Dowd because of bad demos. Then he was passed over by Sean Delaney, who was snagged by Gene to do his album. Sean received some producing credit, though, because he wrote and or demoed some of the songs for Peter before production began on this album in order to help him acquire a producer. As far as the charts goes, Peter's album peaked at number 43 on January 13, 1979 and spent 20 weeks on the charts. Peter's is the lowest selling and the lowest charting of the 4 solo albums. The album was certified gold and platinum by the RIAA on October 2nd, 1978. Just like the other 3 solo albums, the iconic cover was painted by Geraldo Caraguti. All 4 solo albums had the same marketing theme and was dedicated to the other 3 band members. Except for Peter's, his was dedicated also to Michael Benvega. Michael was in Peter's pre-Kiss band Chelsea. Peter had always promised Michael that if he ever did a solo album, he would have Michael play on it. Michael played bass. When the time came in 1978, Michael had already passed of cancer. Peter in turn dedicated the album to him along with the other 3 members of Kiss. Included, as with the other 4 albums, was a dust sleeve, a poster that formed a larger poster, and a merch form. So that's basically it about everything, all the trivia and all the stuff about it. But we're going to get to what we normally really like to get to. And with Peter's, if you got some Peter lovers, just sounds weird. If you got some Peter Criss fans out there.
Got some Catman fans.
Got some Catman fans. Now you have to remember, I wore the Catman makeup growing up. So, but we're going to get to this. We're going to get to the songs. Steven, you ready?
Let's just put the bullet in it.
We're going to start with track 1, I'm Gonna Love You.
Say you're gonna be true and stay loving as you can, 'cause I really love you.
I'm Gonna Love You was written by Stan Penridge and Peter. Peter played the drums, Bill Bodine played the bass, Art Munson and Stan Penridge played guitar, Bill Cuomo played keyboards. Now, I guess this is a good way to start off an album. I mean, it does have that little doom, and it has that that little riff, and then the horns immediately come in.
Yep.
I like Peter's voice in this. Peter plays drums on this song. The drums sound really good. The mixing sounds good. You can hear the guitar. The guitar is not heavy. This is not this song in particular isn't a heavy rock song. It's got the background singers. He has background singers on almost all of his. There's only one song on here that he don't have a bank of background singers, and a couple songs he doesn't have horns on. But I think "I'm Gonna Love You" is it's an okay song. I don't hate it. I don't skip it. So it's actually a song that I like. It's not one of my favorite songs on the album. But it's a good way to start an album off if you're going to start an album off this way with this kind of song content. So I give this one, out of the gate, I give this one a 6.
That's nice. I feel like this is a good way to start the album off. I did quite like it. I remembered whenever I was listening to one of your first videos, you played the solo album commercial, and I was thinking maybe the song that's in the commercial would be the one that started the album off, and it wasn't. But I actually think this one sounds pretty good, and it's not too far off from being a Peter Criss Kiss song, in my opinion.
It could have been a Peter Criss Kiss song. It could have, yeah.
With a little bit of direction from Paul and probably just Paul and Gene. Not necessarily in arranging, but just making it sound like Kiss. So I like this one pretty fair. I'm not gonna say it's stellar or anything, but it is pretty good. So I give it a 5.
Okay, 5 on that one. Okay, so we're gonna move on to track 2. You Matter to Me.
'Cause you matter to me, and that's why you still matter to me, and that's the only reason I need to get by. You still matter to me.
You Matter to Me was written by Vinnie Poncia, John Vestino, Michael Morgan. Peter played the drums, Bill Bodine played the bass, Art Munson and Stan Pendridge played the guitar, Bill Kumo played the keyboards. Now the funny thing about this is the same exact musicians that played on the first song plays on the second one. And it's like night and day. And this was the first single they released. It's the one that plays in that commercial that you're talking about. And I hate this song. I don't like that synth. It's as soon as this song start, it's like the little keyboard and even I don't like. I mean, whenever Pete first starts singing, he's like, "Look out, the sky is crying," and I'm like, and then "'Cause you matter to me, and that's why," and it's like. And it's just it is plagued by that sound that I just cannot stand. It's like, the first song was not the hardest rocking song, but he took his foot off the gas like immediately, and it's like, and why did they pick this song to be? I would have preferred "Tossin and Turnin" to be the first single, or the song that was on that led the album off. Yeah. I just don't know, but I really don't like this song, so I scored it a 3.
Okay.
It gets skipped.
So, this is late 70s. Maybe they were hoping to hit a disco thing with this.
I mean, and like I said, and a lot of people are going to go, well, that's the time period it was in. Yeah, so Aces was made in this same time period too, people. You don't hear no disco on his album.
That's true.
The closest is maybe New York Groove. And it's not really a disco song, but it does have that steady beat that we talked about in that review. Check that out.
No.
But so, what about you? What's your final thoughts on this song?
My final thoughts on this song. Man, I don't actually dislike it that much.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as the first song.
Right.
And I do. I remember the first time I listened to it, I heard the synth and like the steady drum beat, and I'm like. So I didn't think it was that bad. So I mean, I wound up giving this one a 4.
Okay, all right. So a 3 and a 4. All right.
This album's starting to look like golf scores.
Right. So we're going to go on to the next track. We're going to go on to Tossin and Turnin.
Couldn't get you off my mind. I heard the milkman on the street. 'Cause I was tossing and turning.
Tossin and Turnin was written by Richie Adams and Malou Reen. Peter played the drums, Bill Bodine played the bass, Art Munson and Stan Penridge played the guitar, Bill Kumo played the keyboards. So once again, the same musicians. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it, but all the same musicians play on the first half of this album. Like I said, I just said a minute ago, this is a good song. Even though it's a cover song, I've heard some people say that they can't stand the do 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 do, but I guess I like it.
I guess it doesn't bother you that
I like
much.
it. I like the guitar in it. The guitar comes back to the forefront. It's not got a lot of distortion on it. But I just like how Peter comes in with that whole, I couldn't sleep last night, and he's got that, just a thinking about you. I love that raspiness and that soulness that Peter has in his voice. And this is one of those songs that kind of comes through on. And this is this isn't my favorite song on the album, but it is working towards like. So I like this song, so I scored a 7.
Wow.
Tossin and Turnin gets a 7. And I actually look back on my other albums I've scored 7s on, and I'm like, I would listen to that just as much as, I think Tossin and Turnin could have been a cover song on Love Gun. Shoot, get rid of Then She Kissed Me and put Tossin and Turnin on there. I would have took it.
That's fair enough.
Wouldn't you have took it?
Over Then She Kissed Me, yes.
So, would y'all have took it? So, what do you think?
Please say yes.
7 for me.
Unfortunately, I don't think we see eye to eye on this. This is a little too, not classic rock, but too slow rock. Mm-hmm. Now, all the while, I do like it better than our previous song.
Right.
I like it about the same
Right.
as the song that opens the album. So I went again with a 5 on this one.
Okay. Well, 5's still a like.
Yeah.
Wouldn't skip it?
No, I wouldn't skip it.
All right.
I don't think I did skip it when I was
All right.
listening.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the next song. We're going to move on to Don't You Let Me Down.
Baby, don't you let me down. Don't you let me down. Don't you leave me alone. Don't you leave me lonely. Don't you run around.
Don't You Let Me Down was written by Stan Pendridge and Peter. Peter played the drums, Bill Bodine played the bass, Art Munson and Stan Pendridge played the guitar, Bill Kumo played keyboards. The thing about this song that bothers me is the title. And I'm not an English major, but if you unabbreviate it, it's Do Not You Let Me Down. Do Not You Let Me Down. And, that's just, and the fact that when it starts, it sounds like Under the Boardwalk. You ever heard the song Under the Boardwalk?
I don't think I have. It doesn't ring a bell.
For those of you out there who've heard the song Under the Boardwalk, doesn't this song, when it starts, sound like Under the Boardwalk? It does to me. It's that do-do-do-do. Oh, when the sun comes up and do-do-do. It's got that bass riff that Under the Boardwalk has. And then the very first thing Peter does on the drums, he hits this floor tom that sounds like it's not even tightened down. It's like, it's like, where's your engineer? Where's your drum tech? And I know I'm being picky. I actually don't hate this song. It just has a mellow feel to it. Once again, it's like, Peter's getting into a pattern here. He's like, rock, mellow, and this is a mellow song, but at least it don't have that keyboard, and that synth all over it and everything.
Yeah.
But it's, in the background vocals, that baby, that's in there and everything. That soulful voice, when I'm on the ground, that he does. So, it's just, I like it. So, what did I score it? I'm having a hard time remembering here, guys. I scored this a 5.
Okay. Well, back to the mellow songs. Back to the a little more chill. I I honestly couldn't. I honestly didn't know what to think when I listened to the song. I was like, I can't. Like, I mean, I know I wasn't going to score it high, but I'm like, I can't. I don't have anything to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like it. I don't hate it. I can't tell you what I do like about it. I can't tell you what I don't like about it.
Right.
I just it sits in a weird place. So I ended up with a 4 on it.
Okay. So back to a 4. I can't. We're trying to get through it, folks. So now we're going to move on to the next song. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes.
'Cause you're the kind of sugar Papa likes. And when you do it, it drives me crazy. And I don't know if I'm up or down, lost or found with you.
That's the kind of sugar Papa likes was written by Stan Pendridge and Peter. Peter played the drums, Bill Badine played the bass, Art Munson and Stan Pendridge played guitar, Bill Kumo played keyboards, Steve Lukather played the guitar solo. You know, when this song kind of starts, he does that little drone and drums comes in, you know, and the way it kind of does that. And then it starts off.
Yeah, when it comes in, it sounds promising.
But then it's like, but then the riff that kind of comes in, it's like that little ding, 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 and I'm like, you know. And then he comes in that, I didn't want you, and I'm like, okay, you know. And then the background singers comes in, and he does that. I don't like the notes of the chorus. It's like that. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. I mean, it's almost like some kind of weird chromatic scale. I was listening to the background of it and just listening to the music without his singing. And the background singers on this, I don't like the background singers. I like what they do. That drive me crazy, and you know, and then it's this song's like drug out like way too long. Because he just keeps repeating that. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. And like, drive me crazy. And then it does that whole fade out thing. Not a fan of this song. This song usually gets skipped for me. This song is 3.
So, well, yeah, like I said, this song starts out pretty promising. I think it sounds... I'm sorry to whoever the guitarist is, but it sounds like a beginner's playing it.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the direction. I don't know.
Maybe that's the sound they were going for.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of... Like many songs on this album, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. And it's not that I'm holding my tongue in fear of backlash, because, I mean, I freaking wrecked everyone's favorite song on Ace's album, so...
Yeah, we already been told you didn't grow up in the 70s, so you don't know.
I'm 20. Of course I didn't grow up in the 70s. But I went back to my default number for this album, 4.
A 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to flip the album, and we're going to move on to the first track.
And maybe on this side we'll find some good songs.
Easy Thing.
Will you really feel like love? Love is so hard. Love is so hard to find.
I really hope you don't like this song.
Easy Thing was written by Stan Pendridge and Peter. Sean Delaney helped produce. Drums were played by Alan Schwarzenberg. Neil Jason played the bass. Elliot Randall, John Tropia, and Brandon Harkin played guitar. Richard Gershon, or Richard T. Bear, played keyboards. Speculated that this is actually a Sean Delaney song that he wrote but did not get writing credit for. Now, Easy Thing is a very unique move to start the second side of your album. And he really didn't have a whole lot of material to choose from in the beginning. Like I said, he's doing mostly covers.
Yeah, he's covering. I mean, he's already covering songs from a band he was already in.
Right.
So
he's and plus, like I said, you got to remember the guy was in an accident.
Yeah, he's in a pretty bad accident.
Right.
So, I mean, you can't... All right, I'm going to need you to write 12 songs, Peter.
Right.
Even though your wrists are broken.
Right. And Peter isn't... And I hate to say this because I'm a drummer, but Peter, being a drummer, is not one of the drummers that could also write music. He couldn't play an instrument other than drums. It wasn't like him being a drummer that could also play guitar, play piano. Gene and Paul both have threw Peter under the bus, saying that he wasn't a songwriter because he couldn't write songs. Because he didn't play an instrument. I consider drums an instrument.
It's hard to,
but I know what they're saying.
It's hard to manifest if you can't, plink around or whatever,
right.
Whether it's on a keyboard or on a guitar or whatever. Because, I mean, I know that you tune drum heads,
right?
But it's just kind of like they're there.
Yeah, Peter probably didn't tune his drum heads though. His tech probably did.
Well, I'm not saying him personally. I'm just saying you do tune drum heads,
right?
But it's not like, I mean, if you're playing a song in C, you're like, oh, let me make sure my snare's tuned to a C.
Doot doot. Nope. Doot 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 doot. Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure that's not how it happens. I'm not a drummer, but
right. So, but now, when it comes to Easy Thing being a very unique beginning of an opening of an album, I'm probably going to surprise a lot of people here, and I'm probably going to maybe go against some. I've heard there are people out here. This song is polarized. There are people that love this song. They think it's one of the better songs on the album, and there's people who hate this song. They think it's the worst song on the album, or one of the worst songs on the album that is skippable every time. Me, I stand in this is one of the better songs on the album camp.
I'll let you finish.
And the reason why is because there's only one thing that I don't like about this song. I love the guitars. I love Peter's voice in it. I love the way it sounds, the way they've got the reverb on his voice. I love how it builds and how it does progress and everything. This is one of the songs that Peter doesn't play on. This is entirely different. It's almost like he hired a certain group of musicians for the first part of the album, and then the second part of the album is an entirely different group of musicians. But the only thing I don't like at the very end of it is when the background singers come in. The background singers could have stayed out. They weren't necessary. He could have ended the song a little bit differently rather than just them love so easy, and then eventually fading it out.
I wonder why he has so many background singers. I mean, he's obviously confident in his voice.
Yeah, he's got a ton though. He's probably got more background singers. I didn't count his against Gene's. Ace didn't hardly have any. I think Paul didn't hardly have any. Where Peter just like had musicians and singers helping him fill in the void, I guess. Because think about it, you're a drum. If you're Ace or Gene, or Ace or Paul, and even being Gene, because Gene chose not to play bass on his album. We covered that in the review. He chose to play acoustic guitar, electric guitar, rhythm guitar, because he wanted to do something different. He had somebody play bass for him. And so, if you were one of those three guys who all have experience in writing songs by yourself, I don't know if I've ever seen a song that Peter wrote that he does not have somebody with him. If somebody can tell me, it may be on one of his later solo albums. I'm not familiar with that material that much, but I'm talking Kiss era stuff. I don't think he had. I think every single song he had a co-writer. So you're a guy that you're going into a solo album, 10 songs. You have a few months to do it. And plus, you just came in an accident. At the same time they're recording these albums, they're making Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park. These albums weren't made after Phantom of the Park. They were made during Phantom of the Park. Phantom of the Park was shot in May.
In like 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. And when did Peter record his album? Check back to my notes. He recorded his album April through July. That includes May. So he's in the middle of shooting a movie. And he's in the middle of being in this accident. And so, all
of a sudden you got to write 10
all of a sudden
songs.
all of a sudden you got to come up with 10 songs of material. Peter was the most handicapped, and I think that's why his album is considered by many the worst. We haven't made it all the way through ours yet, so we don't know, and we still have to go through Paul.
Yep.
But his and Gene's usually fight for last place in people's minds,
Yeah.
and Paul's and Ace's usually fights for first place in people's minds.
Yeah.
So in people's opinions, rather. But having said all that, let's get back to the subject at hand. Easy Thing. I know you're going to look at me like I got two heads coming out of my neck.
If you,
I
swear
like
if you
Easy.
score
I like
a 9. I might leave.
I like Easy Thing enough. Let me hold you down. I like Easy Thing enough to score Easy Thing a 9.
Oh my gosh.
A 9.
Okay.
All right.
I can be fair. I'm not
right.
gonna. I don't want to be one of the people in the comment section. Although I probably will. I'll probably make a fake account and go and comment.
Okay, sure. Why not? I need commenters. I need commenters and subscribers. So go ahead and do it.
Well,
Go ahead. Tell us what Steven thinks about Easy Thing.
I guess based on my reaction, you know where I'm going. You're obviously on the color side of the Polaroid, and I'm on the blank side.
No.
Remember when I was telling you about? I said there was a song that I was riding in my car, and I put my hand on my shoulder, or my head on my hand, and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Right. This one.
This is it.
So would this be your 0, or is this a 1? What is it?
No, I don't think so, because what'll probably end up happening is we'll get through the entire discography, and I'll just rate things lowest as 1, and then I'll have to go back and be like, well, I guess out of all of them, that's my 0. But no, I'm not gonna give it a 0, and I don't think that I would, because I'm sure that we're gonna run into some good material for zeros, some good candidates for zeros.
In the mid-80s, yeah.
Future.
Mid-80s, yeah. In my opinion.
So I just went straight 1 on this one.
All right. So 1 on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next song. We're going to move on to Rock Me Baby.
Come on and rock me till I'm ready to rock. Rock me, baby. Rock me till I'm ready to drop. Baby, who you been loving since your man's gone?
Rock Me Baby was written by Sean Delaney. Sean Delaney helped produce. Drums were played by Alan Schwartzberg, Neil Jason on bass, Elliot Randall, John Tropia on guitar, Richard Gershon, Richard T. Bear on keyboards. So we're starting, this is the second song on the second side, and it has the same musicians, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the drummer and the bass player that's on these two songs, last two songs, also played drums and bass on Gene's album as well.
Oh, okay.
And Gene's and Peter's albums were very, very closely tied. There were some of the same musicians, particularly those two. Sean Delaney produced Gene's album. He also helped write some songs for Peter, produced some demos for Peter to get Peter a producer when Gene snagged him up, like I mentioned earlier. Rock Me Baby is one of those songs that starts off with that honky-tonk piano, and then the horns immediately come in, and it's just got that, baby, who you been seeing since your man's gone, and then those singers come in, rock me, baby, and everything. It's not a song that I really like, so I've not skipped it more than I have skipped it, but I can't really say I like the song, so I got to give it a 4.
I think this sounds very like, if you ask someone to describe a song of this genre, like, I think this would almost perfectly fit the bill.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just has all the tropes in it that make it kind of like whatever this genre is called. I won't even know what to call it. It kind of just has all the tropes that you would think that would be in a song like this, and I don't like it nor hate it, so I stuck it in the middle at a 5.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go into the next song. We're going to go on to Kiss the Girl Goodbye.
Now kiss the girl.
One more time won't change things. I'll even love you more. Kiss me, kiss the girl goodbye.
Kiss the Girl Goodbye was written by Stan Pendridge and Peter. Peter plays percussion, Stan Pendridge plays guitar, and sings background vocals. A Kiss the Girl Goodbye is all basically, it's just Stan and Peter. And they were in a band together, they were in Lips. So, but it's just Stan playing guitar. I like this song. this one of those really super mellow songs.
Yeah. Like this side was dialed back, but this is like super.
Yeah, don't even have really drums in it. It just has a couple hi-hats and a couple, but I like the background vocals on it. I like the harmonies. I like whenever Peter does that whole "We've been apart so many times." If he kind of gets up in his upper register.
Yeah.
So I like "Kiss the Girl," but it's not one of the songs that I like. So let me see what I scored it on here. I'm sorry, guys. I have a hard time remembering. I scored this one a 4 as well. It's not a song that I like, but I rarely skip it, but it's not one of the songs I'm going to go to on this album.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm the same with you there. I like the musicianship of it, and it's kind of, because it's just the two of them and a little bit of drums, it's kind of a little more intimate song. Mm-hmm. I'm picking up, at least. But once again, this one really doesn't bring anything to the table for me, so I went 4 on it.
Okay, so we've almost made it through the album. We're on the next to last track, Hooked on Rock and Roll.
It's like a fever that won't cool down. I've been addicted since I heard that sound. That was Tossin with a Beethoven needle, and I'm hooked on rock and roll. Yeah.
Hooked on Rock and Roll was written by Stan Pendridge and Peter. Peter plays the drums. Bill Bodine played the bass. Art Munson and Stan Pendridge played guitar. Bill Como played keyboards. This is the next to last song, but he pops back to, this is the band that that was on the first side of the album, or a good part of it. And it starts off with that whole, and it starts off with the boy could play before he learned to grow. It's almost like, it almost feels like it's kind of what do they call it? Autobiblical or autobibliography. It's an autobiographic type of song, like Peter's singing about himself. And I actually had to look up, and because I'm old, but I'm not old. Mm-hmm. But I had to look up what that lyric where he says vaccinated with a Vetrova needle or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so basically talking about being vaccinated by a needle, like a record needle.
Oh.
Not a needle, a record needle.
Dang.
So, so he's hooked on rock and roll, because he got vaccinated with a record needle. It's one of those songs, I like it, but, I'd listen to it before I listened to one of the two previous songs, before I listened to Kiss the Girl Goodbye, or before I definitely listened to it before Rock Me Baby. So I scored this song. It's a middle of the road for me. I scored this song a 5.
Okay. Yeah, we're starting to line up a little more on this, because I'll just go ahead and say I'm right there at a 5 on this one as well. Because, again, it's not bad. There's nothing special about it. Not really in the way it's it's recorded well. If you compare it to, some of the older Kiss recordings, it's recorded well. But it's not anything to write home about. So yeah, I'm going 5.
5 on it. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next. We're going to move on to the last track. We're going to move on to "I Can't Stop the Rain."
I can't stop the rain. Here it comes again. Lightning strikes across the sky.
"I Can't Stop the Rain" was written by Sean Delaney. Sean Delaney helped produce. The drums were played by Alan Schwartzberg. Neil Jason played the bass. John Trapia played the guitar. Richard Gershon, Richard T. Bear on the keyboards. This is another Sean Delaney song. This is one of the songs that he wrote for Peter and demoed for Peter. Even though he's not credited, it's rumored that he sang background vocals. Even Sean Delaney has said that part of "I Can't Stop the Rain" is my voice. I've read that quote where he said that. This album caused a big rift between Sean Delaney and Peter, who had, Sean's been with Kiss since the very beginning. Sean along with Bill Aucoin. Sean was the one that gave Kiss their flair. He's the one that, used to videotape them and teach them their stage moves and teach them about stage presence. So Sean Delaney was almost like a fifth member of Kiss, you know.
In a way.
In a way, he was. I mean, he didn't really play on anything, but he was a big influence on Kiss. And so this song is probably my favorite song on the album. It is. I like the way it starts off. I like Peter starts off, "This is New York, yo," you know. I mean, it's just like, and I love the piano comes in. I love the way the song progresses and everything. This is a good. I'd love to say that this is a good song and give Peter props for it, but I can't. Can't give him any props at all. I can give his performance props as far as vocals, but he didn't even play drums on this song either. So. And a lot of people, it's not just me, a lot of people, this is their favorite song on the album. Easy Thing, believe it or not, and I Can't Stop the Rain are my two favorite songs on the album. And there's a bunch of people who, those two songs are their favorite song. And they go back and forward, like Easy Thing, some people's favorite. I Can't Stop the Rain is other people's favorite. I Can't Stop the Rain is my favorite. I originally scored this a 10, but then I started thinking, Detroit Rock City is a 10. Shock Me is a 10. And I'm not listening to I Can't Stop the Rain over one of those songs. But I can say this. I Can't Stop the Rain is probably in my opinion, one of the top 3 Peter Criss songs. I think it's better than Beth. I think it's better than Strange Ways. I think it's better than a lot of Peter songs. So what about you?
This one didn't really make that big of an impact with me either. I mean, it might have just been a state of mind thing. I was trying to keep an open mind and open ear. I mean, this one really didn't hit me either. I do like the composure of the song a little more than some of the previous ones that we've ran into. But the writing's there. The performance is there. But again, it's just it boils down to it not really being the kind of music that I listen to.
Right. Subject matter, type of music.
Yeah.
Right.
So I gave this one a 6.
Okay. We're going to run down through the songs and our scores, and then we'll rate our album, give our total rating for the album, and then we will give our closing thoughts on the final thoughts on the album. And then we'll wrap this up. For me, I'm Gonna Love You was a 6. You Matter to Me is a 3. Tossin and Turnin is a 7. Don't You Let Me Down is a 5. That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes is a 3. Easy Thing is a 9. Rock Me Baby is a 4. Kiss the Girl Goodbye is a 4. Hooked on Rock and Roll is a 5. I Can't Stop the Rain is a 9. That's a total of 55 divided by 10. That is 5.5.
All right, for me, so I'm Gonna Love You, I got a 5. You Matter to Me, 4. Tossin and Turnin, I gave a 5. Don't You Let Me Down, I gave a 4. That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes, I gave a 4. Easy Thing, I gave a 1. Rock Me Baby, I gave a 5. Kiss the Girl Goodbye, I gave a 4. Hooked on Rock and Roll, I gave a 5. And I Can't Stop the Rain, I gave a 6. Which is a total score of 43 divided by 10 tracks is 4.3.
So 4.3, is that your lowest score so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay. All right. So we're going to talk about this where it lines up with my other albums. So we'll pull the list up here. Alive stays number 1 at 7.75. Ace's Solo, 7.44. Rock and Roll Over, 7.1. Alive, 7.06. Love Gun, 6.9. Destroyer, 6.77. Dress to Kill, 6.3. Kiss Debut, 5.9. Higher Than Hell, 5.7. Gene Solo, 5.55. Peter Solo, 5.5. So for me, Gene and Peter are right there together, and we'll see where Paul lands.
Yeah.
See if Paul lands down there with them, or if he lands up more towards where Ace is, or
maybe he lands right in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
Because right now you've got 1 at the top and 2 at the very bottom.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where Paul's album is going to land. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
So what? I'll let you be first. What's your final thoughts?
My closing thoughts were, so my goal with the solo albums is to go in, be open-minded, listen to them as they are, and I wanted to like this so bad. I wanted to like it, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. And it's none of it's bad, except for Easy Things. It's just not the kind of music I like, and I think it's okay for me to say that.
Do you feel like Peter's album is very much unkiss?
Yes, absolutely.
More so than Jeans?
Yes.
So is there any songs on this album that you could see being a Kiss song?
The opening track.
The opening track.
Yeah. That's probably the only one.
Okay. All right.
And also, so I kind of closed my eyes and listened, and I was like, someone could have told me that this was like Elton John, and I would have believed him.
Had you not seen the cover, if somebody would just said, "Here, listen to this."
Yeah.
Who is that?
Yeah.
You'd have been like, I don't know, Elton John or whatever. You wouldn't have never thought Peter Criss from Kiss.
No.
All right, my closing thoughts. Just like what we've seen with Gene and Ace so far, but a little different. Peter did what was familiar to him, being the oldest. He relied a lot on other people for his material and for musicianship, since he's not a songwriter in a true sense of the word, and not a musician in the true sense of the word, that he doesn't play an instrument other than the drums. But I still feel that he made the record that he wanted to make. I would own this album just for 2 songs alone, Easy Thing and I Can't Stop the Rain. The rest of the album is not always easy to listen to, but I would not trade this album away just for those 2 songs. Some of the songs would have been better with a little less horns, less background singers, more guitar, maybe a little bit different arrangement. The feel of this album is a huge effect of Vinnie Poncia that would also plague the upcoming Dynasty and Unmasked albums he would also produce for Kiss after the solos. And everybody you've never heard Dynasty, you've never heard Unmasked, Vinnie Poncia moves on to produce. He produces the next 2 Kiss albums. And a lot of people at the time that they came out, they were the worst Kiss albums, because, oh God, Disco Kiss. And Unmasked is a little preview. It's Pop Kiss.
Yeah.
So
I was made for loving you, Kiss.
Right. That's off of Dynasty, but that's Disco Kiss.
Yeah.
Which that's really the only song like that on that album, in my opinion. But we'll be getting to that, and that's one of the things. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Yeah. We'll give you a little preview for those of you who are watching along and watching through these. One of the next things we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing commentary for Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. We're going to put the video down. Me and him's going to watch the video, and we're going to put the video down in this area right down here in the bottom. I really can't put my finger there. We're going to put the video down in the lower part of the screen so you can see what we're seeing. And Steven's never seen it.
No, I haven't.
He's never seen it. So I've seen it several times. And I seen it when it originally came out on TV back in 1978. And since it came out right after the solo album, solo albums came out in September. And Kiss Meets the Phantom came out in October. We feel like before we move on to Dynasty, we're going to do that. During that time, what we're probably going to talk about, because there's some pretty boring parts of Kiss Meets the Phantom, especially in the very beginning where Kiss doesn't show up for like the first 20 minutes. We're going to talk about if we could build a 10-song best of solo album. What 10 songs would I choose? What 10 songs would Steven choose? We're going to kind of wrap it up in that. In that video, while we're waiting on stuff to talk about, while we're waiting on Kiss to show up, because like I said, it takes them a while to show up. So, but we're going to go ahead and wrap that up. I am Brant.
I'm Steven.
And we'll see you next time.